we'll roll right into the Dying Light 2. I'm gonna call it my way too early review. I'll give a number, but it's like placeholder number.
Yeah.
I say way too early because I've played about 8 hours of it. But I feel confident with what I've played to quote unquote review it. So I'm gonna start with the story because that's the least thing I'm confident with, because like I'm 8 hours in, I don't know where it's gonna go.
It could get better.
It could, and I'll say that I hope it gets better because it just feels so heavy-handed with exposition in terms of like trying to explain the world to you. And it's like, dude, I know what a zombie world, what it's like, and the way that you're doing it is to your character who has already said he's a pilgrim. That's what they call these, like nomads, basically is what he is. And he's already said he's traveled 2,000 kilometers to be there. He's trying to find his sister, and that's really the goal right now, as far as I can tell, is to find your little sister. But they keep telling him all these things like, yeah, don't get too close to they'll eat you, that type of stuff. And I'm like, no shit.
Yeah.
It's 2036. This thing's been going on a long time. And there's been a whole other game.
Yeah, and also like if you're playing a zombie game and you don't know not to get close to zombies, go play a fucking arcade game, loser.
This isn't the game for you.
Yeah.
Also, even if you're not playing a zombie game and you're in real life situations and you see that thing, don't get close to it. But you're looking for your sister. And early on, you go to sleep because that's a mechanic in the game. You go to safe houses, or you go to sleep, so it's not night anymore because night's really hard.
The nights.
But the first time you sleep, you get a dream, and this annoying little girl voice. I hate to be mean about it, but it's the most grating child voice ever. And it's probably not a child actually doing the voice acting, and that's probably why it's really bad. But she keeps saying, his name's Aiden, the main character. And every time you have one of these dreams, it's Aiden Bobaden, Aiden Bobaden, 80s.
Is it really?
Yeah, every single time. And she says his name 1,000 times, and immediately I'm like, shut the hell up, kid. But you're in the story it's telling with that first dream is you and her are in this, like, it just looks like a house, but it's like some kind of experiment facility. And there's these doctors and lab coats, and they act really normal for what's going on around them, the kids do. But anyway, they grab you, Aiden, and take him to a table, and they shoot something at him. I don't know what that is yet. I imagine it's going to be pivotal to the story. But then you wake up and you go about your business. And then there's another dream like that. And this is really how the story's told for the most part. Although they are interrupting what you're doing in your learning phase of the game, the tutorial phase, very often to get you to pull up your walkie-talkie and talk to some guy. Yeah. And so like, instead of learning the motions of the game, you feel like you keep getting stopped to learn something minute. And it's not the worst intro to a game because it's pretty short. It's only 2 hours. But I just noticed myself like getting a little annoyed that I couldn't just get to the fun part of the game, which is the traversal, the jumping. And I'm gonna get into the gameplay in a minute. But as far as story goes, the way they've inserted it into the game is overbearing for me. Like it's heavy-handed. And another part of the story that feels heavy-handed is the voice acting. It's so hit or miss. Some of the actors are really good. The main character's fine. He's at least average. I can deal with it. There's one guy that is kind of your guide once you get to the city, and his name's Hekon, and he's really good. But other than that, there's no one in the game that's even close to exceptional. The worst example of it I can think of is this girl that you meet when you meet that guy, and she's supposed to be Southern American, and I'm gonna play it in the video.
Drink.
Seriously? What next? Maybe we should draw him a bath.
Sounds pretty cozy to me, ladies. Maybe next time.
Get bent, Hakon.
Being from the South, it pissed me off to no extent. But not long after that, you get released to do side quest stuff, which is where the game gets good. But there's one side quest character that I don't know if it was intentional or if the guy just kept losing his accent, but it was like, I think he was supposed to be Russian, but then all of a sudden it would trail into Mexican, like Mexican Hispanic. And it was so confusing. I couldn't follow what he was saying because his accent kept going in and out of two different ones. And I'm like, maybe it's supposed to be that they're 30 years in the future and they didn't learn accents that way, or he has those people. They didn't explain why he talked like that.
I don't blame you for not understanding. You would have to spend some time with fish to understand.
But it's a lot of stuff like that where you can't really appreciate the writing because the voice acting is kind of phony.
Have you gotten to Rosario Dawson's character yet?
I didn't even know she was in it.
I knew she was in it, but
I knew she was in it, but I didn't. I just want to know if she has good voice acting or not.
I'm sure it should probably be a high point of the game. Again, it's not like the absolute worst, but it does feel phony. Like they put together this thing that feels AAA as far as the cutscene animation and stuff goes. Most of the time, there's sometimes where they do some weird animation, they're clipping and stuff, but mostly it's good. It's like Fallout-esque, but cleaner. But yeah, no, story I'm not going to even give a number on that. Gameplay that I should have let off with, I'm really enjoying this game because I know I'm tearing it down right now. Gameplay wise, it feels really good, especially the traversal. The traversal it's some of the best in any open world game. It's what I want Far Cry to become in terms of mantling, and you're always looking for the next thing that you can do because like it's got this fluid motion where if there's something like in between a gap you're trying to make, you just tap the right button, the jump button, and he'll just do this little pro hop off of it, and it feels natural, like you're actually gliding from jump to jump. And then it's straight up like a playground. It's an open world playground. They put monkey bars everywhere for you to swing on, and so you're always engaged in something in the traversal. It gives you a reason to want to explore out because you're just freely moving in this great parkour way. Combat starts out too simple, I would say. It's just swinging a bat or whatever weapon you have, and you just do that over and over. But as soon as they start introducing like the kick and the drop kick and different ways you can combo and block, it gets pretty good. I haven't gotten to where it's like too complicated yet, but I can imagine it's going to get to a lot of cerebral decision making during combat. The zombies are fine. They don't really have much of a presence in the game, which is kind of weird for a zombie game.
I heard it. They don't kick up till nighttime.
Yeah, I mean, they get crazy at nighttime, but I feel like there's so many ways as a player, as a smart player, you can avoid that.
Yeah.
Certain missions you're gonna have to be out at night, but you can kind of speed run those to avoid, the hazard of it. But like if you're just doing exploration to try and check off things on your list, there's no reason to stay out at night. You just go sleep and like there's not enough reward for doing it at night. But yeah, during the daytime, they're just a minor inconvenience that you can easily run away from. Like it kind of reminds me on Arceus, like there's no reason you got to stick around for a fight.
Yeah,
you just leave. You can always outrun them on Dying Light in the daytime. At night they're faster. They can call in hordes. That's definitely where the interesting encounters happen. But during the daytime, it's really fun to, like, my favorite thing is going into these apartments. You see a window that's open.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how you parkour up to it. And once you're inside, there's special things. And one of the mechanics of the game is that early on you get bit and now you're infected and you got to find a way to be accepted in the city because they're really strict on that. I'll wait for y'all to play to see all that pan out. But anyway, anytime you're in the dark, you need sunlight. That fights it off. Your meter won't count down. But if you go inside a building, it shows a little skull up there and it starts counting down from 5 minutes. I don't know if that gets longer as you go on or if it's just through consumables that you can extend that, but you only get 5 minutes. So there's this little bit of pressure on you to kill the zombies and get what you want looted out of there and get out. So there's that little bit of horror game aspect in that moment.
I'd sound like I'd hate that though.
No, it's not bad. I mean, at night it is, but there's UV lights all over the place.
And you can just go in there and replenish the meter.
And I think it's a good decision because it kind of counters what I was saying about
it adds a layer.
Yeah, like goes hand in hand with the parkour. You see a UV light over there, you know there's a safe house over there. You got to find a way to parkour your ass across the map in order to get to safety and not have your meter count down and turn. But yeah, that gameplay is great. Audio, pretty good. I will say the music a lot of the time feels out of place. Like it doesn't line up with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's good music. Like it's well
composed.
Yeah, well composed. But I don't know. Like sometimes she'll be like
just out of place.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for no reason it'll kick in whenever you walk in a building. I'm like, is something gonna happen? And nothing happens. But again, like it's better than nothing. I don't like games that are too quiet either. So I guess they're like, hey, we'll fill it with this pretty music. When the intense music kicks in, that's good. It definitely gives you that chase feeling because that's the mechanic at night. If you alert a certain type of biter, I hate the term, but if you alert a certain type of biter, they call other zombies and it becomes a chase. And you got kind of like a wanted level in GTA. It goes up to a level 4 chase. I haven't gotten past 1. 1's pretty rough. They're fast. They get on.
Did they keep the concept from the first one, like the big zombie at night?
Oh yeah. Well, I've seen them in the daytime too, but I don't know if they're just docile because they haven't came after me. But
that was always the scariest thing on the first one at night.
I haven't ran into a big one yet. I've been playing like a smart player and doing everything. I'd actually do a lot of stealth in this, which I don't usually like in games, but it's fun to sneak up and dispatch of them without having to get in a fight. But yeah, the audio, it's fine. Nothing to write home about other than the voice acting is not good. Graphically, it's fantastic. The game looks gorgeous when it works right. Sometimes I wouldn't say it's pop in, but there's frame issues. Like, especially when you're following someone on a mission, like the guy I was talking about, Hakon. He leads you around, and it's got to be hard to animate these parkour moves for other characters, but It's like he gets behind where he's supposed to be, and he'll go and fly to the, whatever he's platforming to, or his legs will start moving really fast. I'm like, this is kind of, messing up immersion here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's graphically as much as it is, performance. But
Yeah. I've also heard like the first day, like bad glitches. Like,
oh, that's what. Yeah, I heard you couldn't even do co-op.
Yeah.
Like it would.
I know it
corrupt your
affected
files.
a lot of reviewers that there was a really bad bug towards the end of the game.
Oh yeah.
It was like a
Erase their
it was
files.
a lot of buggy.
Sheesh.
I don't know if the day one. I think the day one patch fixed a lot of that.
Yeah, and I haven't run into anything that's in any way game breaking. Just minor things, clipping, and stuff you expect from something that's an open world big game like that. But for the most part, it runs really well. Like as well as I'd say like a Far Cry, or definitely better than Fallout does. But graphically, also from a design aspect, it's kind of bland. The characters and stuff. I don't know. When they first showed it, they had these factions all had their own color, like they showed them all in like bright red and bright blue, and so it felt like you knew what you were getting into. They all kind of looked like similar people, other than one group wears a mask, and like you can't really tell from a distance. So it's kind of samey in that regard, kind of bland.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You remember that they first showed it? It was like you have the choice of flooding the city or not, and then you lose side quests. But I've heard they walked that back.
Nothing I've done has felt like it really matters. I mean, again, I'm early in the game, so maybe it'll be bigger decisions, but all of the dialogue stuff seems pretty similar to, each decision, except for one side quest I did. I think that's where that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like decisions mattering will be just how a side quest is resolved. Like there was a guy that had stolen something, and I was going to get it back or figure out if he actually did it, and he did, and I ended up killing him because he basically made me. I could have went with him and convicted the other guy, and they would have hung him, and so like someone was going to die there, but I picked to kill him. So there are stakes in that regard. But I was going to say another graphics thing. When they first showed the game, the world looked way, I don't know, I wouldn't even say better, grander though, like bigger, more levels to it. Everything seems like the same height. Like all the buildings are about 3-story buildings.
Yeah, when I saw it, it was like more verticality.
Yeah, it doesn't
You'd be able to
feel,
switch levels and layers.
Yeah, the only verticality is in these tower-esque things that are they're windmills, and that's how you go and do like in Far Cry where you get the settlements and stuff. And that's fun. It's fun to climb them, but they're just kind of placed across the map, and from a distance nothing looks recognizable. When you get up on it, like things are well designed. It's just like at one glance it looks all the same. It's got this green trees on top of every building, basically. Like everything just looks green and then city. Like it's hard to notice anything in particular, other than like they got the bazaar is made in a church, and then they got a clock tower or something, but mostly it's all samey.
I'll tell you, the one thing I saw from like clips and gameplay was I love the way the open world is. I love all the green in the world, because like usually when you have post-apocalyptic games, it's gray and everything's broken shit, and this one looks like it's like new world type where there's green and trees, and
I like that about it. Like I'm glad they added all the lush stuff to it, but they chose some weird filter where everything looks too saturated. Like the greens are so green, too green, and the yellows and oranges are way too orange. So everything looks like it's got an Instagram filter on it. And I don't really like that, but I rather look more natural. But I am glad that's there, because I don't like whenever a world is like, it makes sense that on top of these buildings they got all these gardens because they have to stay off the streets. Like it all works like that, but it's more the like I said, the filter of it that threw me off. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I had in particular. I think that pretty much does it. But I'll say, as far as a number goes, I'm closer to a 7 than I am an 8 for sure. It could improve, because it has only improved so far. Like the beginning, if I would have been reviewing it, it was a 6 for sure. It just out of the gate, it kind of limps to where it's going. But once you get into the open world, you see what the possibilities like you do in a Far Cry game. So I'll say a 7.5. And it can only go up from here. Now, I want to clarify, it's a placeholder. Like,
I want to hear your after you spend some more time. I want to hear what you'd say, like the next part of the story and how you think about the end and all that.
Yeah, if you beat the game.
I do plan. I thought about this because there's a lot of things coming out. I was like, am I going to finish it? I do think I will. It's grabbed my attention enough, and the gameplay it's easy to jump in. I didn't think it would be. That's honestly why I was not excited for it for the longest. I was like, this is going to be something that is every time I get in, I don't want to relearn what I was doing. But once you know what you're doing, it's all all pretty straightforward.
And I'm kind of glad to hear what you're saying, because I was thinking about buying it like a couple days ago. But I was like, no, I'll just wait, because if I get it now, I'll put it off to the side when Elden Ring comes out, and I'll never get back into it.
Well, if I'm not done with it, I will put it off when Elden Ring comes out, but that doesn't mean I won't go back to it. I'll say I don't think Eric would particularly like it. I think you would have a little fun with it. You wouldn't finish it. Cole, it feels like something, since you like Far Cry, it's very parallel to Far Cry, but focused on melee.
Yeah.
Like, that's really the big difference, and obviously zombies instead of people. I'm not saying it's as good as Far Cry, but it's different enough to be, if you're in that, fan of that genre, it's worth checking out.
As far as like the zombie games go, you're not really burnt out on Dying Light?
No,
does it feel fresh enough to?
Right, yeah, definitely. Because I thought that was going to be a problem, but no, I didn't notice it. I don't think of it too much. Like, obviously, they make it pretty clear, biters and all that, like talking about it, but it doesn't feel like that's all the game is.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I said, though, it's more about the movement and getting around and the resources you're getting. So it hasn't been too prevalent for me. But I don't find it interesting, all the side types of zombies. I never have in games. For some reason, like the special infected, unless it's Left 4 Dead, where those impact me as a group and how I approach it. I don't like it in stuff like Deadrising and
I'm the same way. I didn't really care for it, like when there's like the biter or the one that spits acid or like the bloaters.
It just gets on my nerves.
I also think it was done great in a game, and it doesn't need to be done in every zombie game.
Yeah,
like it was done great in Left 4 Dead. You don't need it in every one that you make now. You don't need it in State of Decay, which I guess you kind of do, because the zombies are lame as in State of Decay.
They're pretty lame,
Yeah, but I just know that when I play a zombie game, there's going to be a quick hunter-like. There's going to be a big fat one that blows up, and there's going to be one that spits acid or tangles you up or anything.
There's always one. We didn't even talk about Back 4 Blood earlier.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, we did. We talked about Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, we can,
we didn't talk about the remake of Left 4 Dead. No.
But I had one more thing I was going to say. Oh, I was going to say, what I think a lot of zombie games are missing, and this seems like a really small thing, maybe it's just a me thing. I want a kill counter. I want stats, because I want every time I kill a zombie, it shouldn't just be a waste of a bullet. It should go towards a challenge or something, or just to be able to at the end of the game be like, dang, I killed 10,000 zombies. I'm pretty sure Deadrising did it.
Deadrising does do it.
It's awesome. I think every game should have that. Gears of War does it well.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
It tracks everything you do, and they have that on their end. Why not show us?
Exactly.
Halo didn't even do that at launch. They still, I don't think, have stats, and I want to know my stats. That's what made me love Siege so much, is I could go and see how many
headshots.
Yeah. I mean, it should always be there in multiplayer games.
Stats are never a negative for a game. It's always
exactly. They always add to it.
Exactly. I mean, if you don't care about it, you ain't got to click into the stats.
Like, I don't care about it unless we're playing like a multiplayer game where I can test how many kills I have compared to y'all.
Dry Bones may be the first zombie in games.
Dry Bones a zombie?
Yeah. And I mean, it depends on how you want to see it, but Super Mario Bros. 3, 1988. Like, they didn't call it a zombie, so I don't know if we give it that, but like, it's reanimating. Like,
what
it's undying.
It's so stressful too when they get right back up and you're like, I don't know how to kill these things.
Yeah, but I mostly want to go through and hit the high points and maybe some of the low points and just discuss through the years what moved it forward, what moved it back. We won't have too much structure with this. We'll just kind of have a good conversation, and wherever it goes, it goes. But another point, Wolfenstein may be like the most legit example of early zombies. Wolfenstein 3D.
Oh, I was like, when did they have zombies?
Yeah, I didn't play the original Wolfenstein.
It was 1992. I mean, I played it like arcade versions.
Wasn't
later,
even
or not arcade, but on PAX. Yeah, that's basically what they were. The Nazis reanimating people into zombies, which you could say lends itself to one of the better zombie properties of all time, Call of Duty. That's probably where they grabbed the idea.
Especially,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I mean, the Nazis reanimated them, and that's literally where Nazi zombies probably.
And there's
conceived.
like, lore that, I mean, not lore, but like movies, pop culture, like zombies or Nazis were into the occult, so that may be where they got that. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of that nowadays. I wonder how much it's spawned since 1992, whenever Wolfenstein did it. Like how much, like Overlord and all that, if it was spawned out of that.
I wonder if the next Wolfenstein or any of the Wolfensteins will ever get into that kind of. Or, I don't know. They're going pretty serious with it.
Yeah, it's more real world, but I feel like one of these two new ones did something with that.
Wolfenstein, I don't know about Youngblood. Played a little bit of it, and it was just disappointing. Yeah. But Wolfenstein 2, you're you get decapitated, spoiler alert, and your head gets dropped and they they put your head on like a super soldier body.
So it's part of it. I wouldn't say he definitely isn't a zombie. So
no.
It's just weird science. They went more in the realm of science than occult.
Science experiment stuff. Yeah.
Like tech and everything.
Yeah.
But okay, what I'll do is I'll go through the ones I wrote down and then we'll just go back and whatever we want to talk about. Okay, so that was 1992. Then Resident Evil, I did not realize was as early as it was. 1990. Oh, you want to guess?
Is it 8?
6.
6.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
A year after we were born, Resident Evil came out. Like, it does not feel that old.
It really doesn't.
I've never really looked at the old one, though.
I haven't
never
played the original. Yeah, I've always played remasters.
But after that, I mean, there's a lot in between these two, but whenever I feel like zombie games became such a big genre was Resident Evil 4 in 2005. Yeah. That's definitely the moment that I feel like it came onto the mainstream as far as video games go.
Yeah. What console was that on?
4 was at exclusive. It was exclusive on GameCube for a little bit. Then crazy. It got ported eventually.
That's crazy because now those aren't even on Switch, the new ones.
Yeah. Well, in Japan, Resident Evil 7 was a cloud streaming. Like they tried it out.
Yeah, that's true.
But I didn't ever hear how it ran. But what I like about the Resident Evil series, as far as the zombie stuff, I like that they also do animals and like kind of do all that.
And if you take a look back at all the Resident Evil series, which we'll get into more at a later date, but they all change along with gameplay. The gameplay changes elements of the game to make it scary, first one fixed camera angles to now you're playing 8, you're first person. That's the only way. Like, you can do a third person action adventure game that's supposed to be scary when your character is a badass. So I think that they've evolved along with they had to slow it down by making your character a and
I'll take that because I don't want zombies to be so athletic because it doesn't make sense. For like scientifically, it doesn't make sense that they would be more athletic once they're dead. So like that's how they counter that is that you're tank controlled and everything. You're slow. You gotta all that.
They kind of got away from like the legit zombies though in the newer ones, like 7 and 8.
Well, yeah, definitely. Nothing in there really feels like zombies, which I'm okay with it because I feel like they knew when to move on.
Yeah.
But it is odd because that is built completely around it. From 1 through 6 was completely built around zombies. But I guess they're like, hey, people are losing interest. Let's find something new.
People are kind of tired of this zombie stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I should have asked, and I had planned to ask, what game comes to mind when you think of your early zombie experiences? And I kind of skewed it because I said Resident Evil, and I feel like that's probably where your mind goes. But for me, when I was thinking of it, immediately I think of Deadrising.
Really?
Like, that's what I think. Like, I wouldn't have said it was the inception of zombie games, but it's the inception of what I picture zombies as. These slow lugs and the idea of being trapped in this one place rather than, going all over the place like Days Gone or something. Yeah.
When I think of zombie games, the first thing I think of is Left 4 Dead. It's interesting that you brought up Deadrising because I've tried to play it. When it first came out, I hated the time, and my cousin had it, and I didn't really get to spend as much time as I wanted to.
Yeah, the save system was pushed a lot of people.
It's a hard game.
But I came from playing Left 4 Dead where you kill every zombie, and then Deadrising, you just run through them. You don't really have to kill, and it's weird like that. They're both the same enemy type. I mean, obviously Left 4 Dead's a little bit different, but in Deadrising, like you don't have to kill them. You could just like run through them just to get to a certain area.
Goal isn't killing everything. The goal is surviving. And I'd say, okay, I like Left 4 Dead better just because the gameplay, it's more quote unquote fun. But as a zombie game, I think Deadrising is better for that because that's what zombies should be. You're just trying to survive. The whole idea of zombies is you're never going to win. You're never going to wipe them all out. You're just people trying to make it and outlast. But Left 4 Dead, it's more like you're exterminators, so it doesn't really give that same vibe. Deadrising is Dawn of the Dead, like almost to a T. That's what they built it off of. And I love that type, like you're outnumbered, you can kill a bunch of them, but it's never going to end, so you're just trying to figure out the best way to increase your chance of surviving.
It was weird. Ocarina of Time has a well that you go down into, and there's these creatures called the Redeads, and that's kind of like they're zombies, but they just hug you, and like they're the creepiest things, especially when you're young. They're so creepy.
See, zombies were better when it was like that. It was ambiguous. It wasn't this whole thing where now everybody has to come up with another name for their zombies, even though we know they're zombies. Play and Die and Light.
Walkers.
Yeah. Biters and Dying Light. Like, how generic do you get? Walkers is fine. Like, it felt fresh and unique when they did that, but they still refer to them as zombies. No, they never say zombies.
Not really.
Why avoid it? We all know. Come on.
But that was before the zombie just got too cliche. What do they call them in Days Gone?
It's bad.
It's
freakers. freakers. That might be worse than
Freakers.
biters.
Yeah.
Freakers.
Yeah, I hate it.
It's
But they're not like normal zombies. They're like super quick and shit.
They're kind of I Am Legend.
It's a cool idea,
zombies.
but if I was not burnt out, Days Gone is a cool concept.
It's a cool concept that they would have
a game that got
landed at launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A game that got by whatever they did at launch.
Well, also it's the opposite of what Resident Evil did. Like they should have realized that is not the time for that game. Like everyone was coming down off of The Walking Dead and other zombie games. Like it wasn't the time to go all in on a AAA zombie game. Like they could have made that team's good. That studio's awesome, but they should have made a different genre, like something fresh. Like I like that Redfall's doing vampires. I don't know that it's going to be a good game, but at least it's something that we haven't seen in a long time. Which 10 years ago, if they'd released Redfall, it'd been like, good grief, all this vampire
sparkly,
yeah. But that's where I am on zombie stuff right now. Like that's why this topic was exciting to me, because I can remember a time when it was awesome. Every time we saw some new zombies, like, oh yes, I want to get in there and play that game.
You know, a game that I hate that we missed because we're console players, DayZ.
Oh yeah. Well, I wouldn't say we missed it, because I was looking at the dates on that.
Yeah.
That came out in 2013 in early access or game preview, whatever. It came to console in 2018. But that was 5 years of being an unfinished game on PC. So I wouldn't say, like, when it launched, it should have been big on Xbox, but I still feel like it's an unfinished game.
I think DayZ, for me, I love watching people play it that are really good at it, because all the systems it has and the realism, it's super dope. But I feel like I would get lost in that world. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
I feel like Tarkov took what they wanted to do and actually did it right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not a zombie game, but it hits that note of realism and inventory management and, encounters meaning something.
Did either of y'all ever play either of the State of Decays?
Yeah, I played the first one a lot, and I played a little of the second one.
I've tried to start the second one like 3 times.
How are the zombies in that?
They're fine. I mean, they're very generic.
Yeah.
Based off of Deadrising more than anything, but they got a lot of special infected type stuff, which they grabbed from Left 4 Dead. Yeah. It's a fine game. Like, it's a perfectly okay zombie game if you're into zombie games, like if you're wanting one at that moment, but it doesn't do anything special. Yeah.
My favorite thing of the State of Decay is building up your base with the characters, because I love characters that I can make backstories to. Like, this guy's tough, he came from, like, I like that, and then I can switch off him when I want to go do a dangerous mission. I have a runner. Stuff like that.
I would say I shouldn't have said they didn't do anything special, because that is a unique aspect to that game, where you have all these different characters that really die if you lose them out there. And so you got to think about who you're taking out on runs, who you don't want to die on this run.
And I have one that's like my leader's, like she's, I want her to be the leader. So she'll go out with like certain people to do certain missions, but like the runner missions that are far off, I send this guy who's got a sniper rifle and,
I just wish the story stuff I cared about it. That it didn't give me a reason to keep playing. Like, I played probably 15 hours of that game, and I was like, I just don't see any reason to keep progressing. Okay, I'll go through some more here. Left 4 Dead was 2008, and that's a big one. Off topic from what you think of as zombie games, but a really good game, Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh, yeah.
Way different than
I've only played it on my
about.
phone, but I like it a lot.
Really? I played it once they put it on Game Pass for the first time. Like, I always scoffed at it. Like, it seemed like a silly thing, but it's a really fun tower defense game. Yeah. And it just happens to have zombies in it. Like, it doesn't feel like it could have been any enemy type, really, but it works. But that's a great game I feel like people have forgotten about, and I'm surprised they haven't tried to make a new one.
Yeah.
They made the Battle Royale type one, which no one really liked, I don't think.
What's it? Garden Warfare?
Yeah. I didn't bother even really trying that.
No, that title.
Yeah.
I'm done after that.
Yeah, it wanted to be Fortnite. Actually, I think it came out before Fortnite got big.
Yeah.
So
it's because I know they made a second one, right?
Yeah. Did they make 2 of the original Plants vs. Zombies?
Yeah, because the one I play on my phone's 2.
Oh, okay.
Because I think you go through time.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of people that are like hardcore zombie fans probably scoff at that one.
I don't know. I've heard it's a really great game, and I've never played it, so... But
you would definitely enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like a game that you would be on lunch break and just
play
load up and play. But following that, of course, there's a lot in between these that I'm kind of skipping. A ton of mobile games. Good grief, I had to scroll for a while. Dead Island, 2011, and that's one that's controversial back and forth.
Dude, I gotta say, Dead Island is my perfect zombie game, concept-wise.
Yeah.
Not execution-wise. Concept-wise, if I were to make a game, it would be different from Dead Island, because I want third person. I prefer third person.
Yeah.
But crafting weapons, Dead Island setting is dope. You can have different tropical themes or whatever. Right. Different characters have different perks. I would add customization, but the going anywhere, seeing anything, picking up everything. When I play games, I open every box, I pick up everything, even if I can't pick it up.
Did Dead Island have guns?
Yeah.
Okay, they just weren't.
I
a
never did
central
make it
point.
far. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I always had a machete. I think it's as far.
I don't
as
think you ever get to where it's like, it's not like Resident Evil where you just have a gun all the time at some point. But I was going to say, that reminds me of Dying Light, which the original came out not long after this, so we'll go ahead and talk about it. That's probably my biggest problem with the game, is that it makes no sense to me that all of the guns just vanished.
Yeah.
Like, and I know they want to do the parkour and the combat. The combat's good, but I just want to shoot them. You know, like it just makes more sense that if you've been surviving this long, it's because you have guns, some good way to.
Well, when you think
prepare
about
for 'em.
zombie, any movies, shows, games, it's always, gun mechanics go hand in hand with
Right.
zombie stuff, like shooting them in the head.
They're
and
just
stuff like
target
that.
practice, and that's what's
Right.
fun about it. Like, I mean, the shooting wasn't good in Deadrising, but by God, I loved having a
Yeah.
shotgun whenever I came across
yeah.
a bunch of them. It makes you feel powerful. Otherwise, like the whole point of zombies is you don't want to get bit, so let's get a bat and get close to them.
Once you get into the city of Dead Island, if I'm not mistaken, you pretty much get it. You need a gun, and
yeah,
one of the characters, her perk is she's really good with guns. So you would eventually do get guns.
I played, like Eric said, the early part of that game, and I can see the potential and why a lot of people really did like it. But it didn't feel like I don't even want to say it didn't feel like a finished game. It just felt very low budget to me. Like in terms of the way things are joined together, the storytelling and everything. Felt like they spent all their money on the opening cinematic, and then the rest of the story was just kind of trickled in there.
Yeah, the hoodoo your voodoo.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
They
Like,
made a
intro. But
yeah.
it felt disconnected from the rest of the game. Like you just all of a sudden you wake up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't feel like you knew how you really got there.
A great game that I don't really ever think about being zombie game, but the Undead Nightmare,
Oh, dude.
Red
I
Dead
wrote that
Redemption
down. I wrote it
DLC.
separately.
Dude, it was so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I would love a sequel to that, but we won't get it because Rockstar doesn't think there's enough money in it. But
And they're cowards.
that's one of the greatest DLCs ever did.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
so
I
good.
love that
It's
DLC.
up there.
In a lot of ways, I like it better than the regular game. Like the challenge of it and everything, and it just had such a different vibe.
Yeah.
It
It was a
scary.
fleshed out story too.
Yeah, completely fleshed out, and it was really it was scary when you were out there.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. It was such an awesome idea.
Yeah, I'd love.
I
to
didn't
bring
really
that back.
play a ton of that though.
I think I
didn't
beat
finish
it.
Yeah, I beat that one. I never finished the main game, but later on I got it when they had separate. You could buy just the DLC. I beat that. But next we have, to me, the pinnacle of zombie games, Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Well, Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah, I mean that's the pinnacle of shooters. As far as
Multiplayer
zombies. Yeah,
zombies.
multiplayer for sure. Yeah, I mean that's probably had the most time spent on it of any zombie
Yeah.
property ever.
But I'll say from a start to finish, good zombie game is Resident Evil 2
Yeah.
remake.
Like, I mean, zombies in Call of Duty is an awesome addition, but that's all it is.
It was an addition.
Yeah. And today it feels like even more so. Like,
It feels so gimmicky now. Though.
yeah. Well, it's wild though if you think about World at War. It really was just some side thing tacked on.
Almost like an
and then it
arcade.
took over. And that's what more people think about from that game than anything.
Yeah.
That's
When
nuts.
World of War, the multiplayer itself was amazing. The campaign was dope. It's
One of the
probably my
best.
favorite Call of Duty.
It's up there.
Yeah.
When you throw in, I think that is the great equalizer, because if I just took the campaign and the multiplayer, I wouldn't say it's better than Modern Warfare 2 or probably not 1. But you throw in zombies and it's like, it's
The
at least
whole-
even.
I still think that may be my favorite zombies map. Like it.
The original.
Yeah,
original.
Yeah,
love it.
I'd say
I
so.
love the original.
The White House, JFK and all
Yeah,
that.
that
That was
one's
a good one.
I like the one in the insane asylum. Which
that
one
one's good too.
I hate how big,
They're turning or something.
Yeah.
how
Not
big
their
they started
totem-
getting
totemism
when it
first.
started like riding the bus to a different location. Like
Yeah.
it got
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
It's-
That same game though had the one in Asia. Which country was that supposed to be?
Was that DLC?
I
Oh,
think it
yes.
was. But that was really good out in the swamps and
Yeah.
everything. But it did get real big.
I kind of like the Gladiator Pit on
That
Black
one was
Ops 4.
cool. Yeah, it's probably the best part of Black Ops 4. The only thing I really
Yeah,
enjoyed from it.
I
that
didn't
game was
play
so
But they
bad.
came out and they only had that one map. That was weird to me. Like they
You had to
didn't
buy
give-
the rest, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they were even there at launch to buy.
I don't think so.
No.
Later on, there's DLC. But yeah.
Season.
Because that game was
Pass type shit.
half baked. If it, like that
Oh,
game.
completely half baked. They just rushed it out
Yeah.
there.
Money.
Didn't they put one with?
Vanguard.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
I don't know. I have not
I
played
think
Vanguard.
so.
Haven't even looked at Vanguard. I don't think so.
I know
The-
Black
the
Ops Cold War had
did.
them.
Yeah, that's what
But,
it is. All
but
the
you never
Treyarch
really
ones.
heard, like you never
I didn't
heard
hear
much from it.
about them. Yeah, I don't know.
And so back to the remake, or yeah, Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't just skip over that though. COD Zombies. There's a lot. Like we could probably make a whole segment just talking about zombies through the year.
I would like to go back and play a lot of these. I don't know how, but we could.
Well, most of these are available in some form. I'm looking through like Wolfenstein 3D. Even I'm pretty sure is like been ported to modern consoles.
Me and Cole are replaying the Resident Evil series right now.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to delve too deep into how they've changed. But we started with the first Resident Evil remake. So.
Yeah, I mean, we skipped the rest of the Resident Evils. I mean, like I said, we didn't want to get in too deep on every game, but those have moved the needle in their own way. Like the original Resident Evil 2, and then people love 3, Code Veronica. Like they just made tons of hits, and then let's go to that.
Then they did make hits,
right? The downfall of
6.
Zombie games. I mean, is especially 6. But I'd say a lot of people say it started with 5, where
is that the one where
he
punches the Rock? Chris Redfield punches the Rock.
5, yeah. I like the game, but
5.
I can see what people are saying about it.
Is 5 where you start in Africa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chainsaw guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good game, but it's not like it doesn't feel like the rest of the Resident Evil games. But I guess
4 started that, honestly.
No, well, when I think Resident Evil, I think Resident Evil 4, and then the first Resident Evil that I started playing was Resident Evil 5, and I didn't even know the same people made it.
Right,
they're totally different.
And then you get to 6, and you really can't tell the same people.
But that's the best thing that happened to Resident Evil is 6 having such a bad reception, and they rethought everything.
Yeah,
or we would have got the same 7, 8, and 9 would be the same.
Yeah,
crap that we got 6 was.
I do feel like there's a good portion of Resident Evil fans that are kind of mad though that they went the direction they did with first person and everything. I think the games speak for themselves, I would say, but a lot of people probably wish they wouldn't have corrected so hard. They would have corrected back to 4 rather than changing genres.
Yeah,
like you have to make a change with the change of technology. Because if you don't, the gameplay is going to get old and it's not going to be the same. You can't do tank controls now. No one will buy your game.
But I think 6 tank controls?
Not bad. It's the same as 5,
cleaned it
4,
up.
and 5. Well,
5 had tank controls for sure. I remember dying many times having to stop and
I'll have to stop.
Better than 5, but nothing like 2 is.
Yeah.
But I think that's what most fans are not complaining about 7 and 8 because they're getting the remakes.
Yeah, as long as they keep doing that.
But how many more remakes do they have in there?
Right. I don't think they're going to remake 5. I just don't. I mean, maybe they feel like the game didn't get the love and maybe it would now.
I don't think they'd remake it.
Well, if 4 sells like I think it will, then maybe they're like, we'll go ahead and do this and go ahead and make some more money.
Well, why don't they go back to 1 and do the style of 1?
I think they think the remake as it is, the HD remake,
it's good
is enough.
But the style of 2 would be awesome for...
I'd almost want to go in a different direction and make a new game with the Resident Evil 1 mechanics with the fixed camera. Even if it's a small thing, like I don't see them taking assets or time away from the other games, the new first-person shooters that make so much money. But if they broke off and did something separate, like a $50 game that's like the original one, it doesn't have to be that long. But with their prowess for making things scary, if they did fixed cameras, it could be way scarier.
Way scarier. Fixed cameras, when we talk about the Resident Evil series in a whole, fixed cameras in the first one, man, they're fantastic.
Yeah, it's so atmospheric. Like, you just don't know what's...
You have no idea.
You have no control. You're going to run into whatever they want you to see.
The sense of not knowing is it adds to the level of fear that you already have. It's just great. It's a great mechanic.
Yep. Okay, we already talked about Days Gone, but I do want to get into that one because that to me feels like the last new zombie game, other than Dying Light 2, that it kind of capped off the whole thing of zombie games are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Days Gone, I went back and played it. I've probably said this 100 times before, but like 3 or 4 years after they released it, and I went back during the dead period and bought it and played it. That game is awesome. Like the open world is not nothing to write home about. It's not fantastic. There's nothing like crazy new, but the bike mechanics, if you like turn people into this camp, you get more money for that camp, but your money's not universal. So you can't just spend the money in one place, and this place might not have the right upgrades for your bike, and the story itself it's whatever.
That's my problem. That's why I couldn't stick with it, because I played a good bit of it last year thinking, okay, it's all fixed, it's not gonna be buggy like everyone complained about, maybe I'll love it, and it's just the story never made me want to go further.
You didn't like Boozer?
I like Boozer.
See, I don't like any of those characters.
I don't
They
either.
they remind me of the worst parts of like Sons of Anarchy.
I was gonna say, it's
people you
when-
don't want to be around anymore.
The studio said Walking Dead's popular and Sons of Anarchy's popular.
Right.
Mash them together.
And that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
though.
it does.
Feels like a mashup.
But the bad
that
parts of
doesn't
both.
gel together.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right.
Oh.
But I agree with you though. The
like
gameplay of it
Boozer.
is solid, and it is a unique. No, I'm not gonna give them credit for those zombies. Those zombies suck. They're
Oh, the freakers.
yeah. Like,
I
just
played
don't
that
like
whole
them.
game, almost got to the very end, and I didn't clear out one freaker horde, except for the one that you have to for the story.
I remember them showing the gameplay of the hordes chasing you and stuff.
And the hordes towards the end, right? The first horde you see?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Really?
yeah.
That's
Well,
crazy.
There's other ones that you can do like on the side to like clear out certain areas, but I never did
As
it.
far as story beats, it's at the end, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But that was such a tech demo then. The whole thing, they made like a whole video
I remember that
of
was
him
one
getting
of the,
them through all of this area.
it's one of the, I think it was the really good E3 with God of War and all that.
yeah, I
it
mean, and
was-
you like thought of all the possibilities, and then I don't feel like it reached that for many people.
And they don't show that it's way harder to kill a horde than in that video.
Oh yeah,
Because for me, not good at games, I have to get all the upgrades and like claymores and set them up and then create my path and then still die. So I've tried to clear out hordes. And I'm like, I die 3 times. I'm like, oh, this ain't worth it. I'll just go sneak in and get what I need to get and leave.
that's fair. I guess I'll go ahead and do my.
I got one more.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that.
What do y'all think about The Last of Us?
Holy crap, we walked right past the last one.
What do y'all think about the what are they called in that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
Why do we not know that? We know that.
Clickers.
Clickers.
Well, they have multiple.
Clickers and I don't know the generic term, but I think
They
it's
just called them infected most of the time, right?
yeah. I think it's a fresh enough take that it didn't rub me the wrong way.
There's
Like it
not
was-
enough good things to be said about the last of it. It handled every bit of it in a unique way,
Yeah.
and it hit at the exact time.
and it
when-
always felt dangerous.
right. Yeah, it hit at the exact time whenever zombie games were the hot thing. You know,
Yeah.
like Walking Dead was still good, and people were into that, and it took it in a very different direction than most of them. It wasn't the soulless thing. Like, I mean, the zombies were, but they showed the humanity alongside the inhumanity, and it all worked so well.
And it's not really a new concept, but the ones that can't see and go off your hearing.
oh yeah,
It was so cool in that game. Like
was
you
a
throwing
cool-
bottles to distract them and stuff. Like it's
Right.
not a new concept, but it was awesome to do that in the
yeah.
game.
Well, I don't remember that in any other zombie games particularly. Like you can do that in Dying Light, but it doesn't feel as integral to the the movement of that game. But The Last of Us, like that's the first one that did straight up Splinter Cell type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and I think Last of Us Part 2 kind of got away from the zombies, not in a bad way. Like there's
were there,
they were good set piece moments with them, but it wasn't about that.
That whole
Yeah.
game was about the humans are the real monsters.
Yeah.
Like that was the tone of that.
Well, we are the monsters.
Yeah. But also zombies are the real monsters. Let's be real.